Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Sivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Sivasadi Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama पावन हरिनाम संकीर्तन की श्रीला प्रभुपाद की समावेद भक्त वृंद की ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की ओम अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोः श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणरघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनासहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च नमामो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिन्निति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Welcome all of you for the royal meeting. From this meeting onwards, I am starting from the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, and we will spot out specific shlokas and sections which are of interest to us devotees who are doing some preaching and counseling and managing and leading people, and you will find it very helpful in the in the course of your application of these principles. You all have done the email course, efficient management and inspiring leadership, where we discussed many practical day-to-day life examples in managing a voice center. But here we are going to go verse-wise. The approach will be, first we take a verse, we read the translation or purport. From that we draw some very important lesson, and then we will see its application in our lives. This is last topic on responsibility. We will do it later. I was not told that. Therefore, I already started. I wasn't clear about it. I wasn't sure because in my topics, for what I have finished in my file and his file is different. So I didn't get any information. So I started right away now. That whatever I have finished, that's all. We will now start with this now. Yeah. So you all can see this, which I'm going to show you now. Just a minute. As you see here, I'm just giving you a sample of what approach we'll be taking. So see 1.1.4, we will read the shloka now. In Naimisharanya, sages did 1,000-year sacrifice for the welfare of posterity. Posterity means the people who will come in future, or Vamsha, as the Vamsha will grow further. So that is called posterity. And what is the principle we learn? That is given in the tag 2. If you see spirit of selfless sacrifice, I mean they are doing 1,000-year sacrifice for the welfare of the future Vamsha of people coming. And who should apply it? That is, we should apply it, self. That's why the word self is given. We should apply it ourselves in our lives. So, so we will discuss about this. Then we go to 1.1.8. Submission as a follower is a qualification for a leader. So submission is glorified there. That is also for our own self. Setting an example as a leader. So the leader has internal submissiveness. So we will learn about that. Similarly, 1.2.16. Service to superiors leads to attachment to Krishna. You all know that Shushoshadhanasya Vasudeva Katharuchi. And then what is the lesson we learn from that? Creating culture of respect among the followers. That is for all the people. It's not only for our own self. It is a principle which can be taught also to others also. So like this, one by one we will go. And we will not dwell on each of it for a very long time, because then we are going to take from Canto 1 to Canto 12. And in each of our gatherings, when we come, we will go, and depending on the importance of the principle, I will also decide how much time to devote for each of the points. So let us go for the first one now, 1.4 now, which is about spirit of selfless sacrifice. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. You can show this verse. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye. Ashtaprayeshu abhadreshu nityam bhagavati sevaya bhagavatyuttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naishtiki. Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya cha Nanda Gopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha. Let's repeat this verse 1.1.4. Naimishe nimisha kshetre Rishayah Shaunakadayah Satram Swargaya Lokaya Sahasra Samamasata. Once in a holy place in the forest of Naimisharanya, great sages, headed by the sage Shaunaka, assembled to perform a great 1,000-year sacrifice for the satisfaction of the Lord and his devotees. So Shaunaka Rishi means Shaunaka Rishi had more than 80,000 disciples. And he was a guru of all of them. He was heading them. And he was actually a very famous performer of yajnas, Vedic sacrifices. But now he is leading a 1,000-year sacrifice, which means just like we do our 24-hour Sankirtan in our temples, isn't it? It's not only one person doing it. Like somebody will do it. It's coming. Somebody will do for 1 or 2 hours and they will go and the next batch will come and they will do it. But the Kirtan will be kept continuous going. It's like that. For 1,000 years, they were planning to do this sacrifice. And Naimisha, Animisha Kshetra, it says. And the sages were sitting with unblinking eyes and tolerating the smoke, and they were doing the sacrifice. But for what purpose they did sacrifices, this one mentioned here. For the satisfaction of the Lord and his devotees, mentioned. See, at the place called Naimisharanya, the place of Vishnu, the sages headed by Shaunaka applied themselves to a sacrifice, lasting for 1,000 years for attaining the planet of the Supreme Lord after going to 100. That is a Vishnu Thakur's commentary. So here this is a Vishnu Thakur's commentary is given here. I'll come to Prabhupada's commentary here. We'll see. So this is the prelude to Srimad Bhagavatam was spoken in the previous 3 shlokas. Now the main topic of this great literature is being presented. Prabhupada goes on like this. If you see, he is talking about Naimisharanya as the hub of the universe. If you see here, Prabhupada mentions here. Hub of the great in a place called Naimisharanya. There is also a reference about it in the Varaha Purana, he says. The Brahmanas prefer Naimisharanya for such sacrificial performances. Yes. Prabhupada will go on to say here, you will see that. See, one thing here he says, this one you see what he says. The devotees of Lord Vishnu offer all kinds of sacrifices for his pleasure. The devotees are always attached to the service of the Lord, whereas fallen souls are attached to the pleasures of the material existence. So, you see, you can see different levels of consciousness. The living entities are attached to the pleasures of the material existence without reference to Lord are called atheists. Then there are living entities who are also geared towards achieving the pleasures of this world, but by submitting themselves to the Lord are called karmakandis. Correct, no? So they are also selfish. Both are selfish. One is atheistic selfish, one is karmakandi selfish. Both are selfish. But actually, if somebody is performing a sacrifice for the Lord's pleasure and for the welfare of the people, that's where the selfless service begins. Sarva bhuta hite rataha. The word is used in Bhagavad Gita. Labante brahma nirvanam rishayah kshina kalmasha chinnadvaida yatatmanaha sarva bhuta hite rataha. Sarva bhuta means all living entities. Hite means benefit. Rataha means engaged. one who is, those rishis who have completely given up all sinful activities. So in the material world, when one engages in sin, then one suffers the reactions. Then one is mostly I-centered. I commit sin, I suffer. I do punya, I enjoy. So that's very self-centered. And opposite of that is Vishaya Kshina Kalmasha. Means all the kalmash, sinful reactions are stopped. Sin means what? Disobedience to God. Disobedience to God is exhibited how? Manashasthani Indriyani Prakritisthani Karshati. By struggling with our mind and senses to do things independent of God's plan. That is called sin. So when rishis are those, number one, they have given up sinful activities. Even all of us as managers and leaders, we should give up sinful activities. Why? If you indulge in sinful activities, lot of energy, time, money, attention, concentration will go in useless activities. That is why Prabhupada gave us the 4 regulative principles. No illicit sex, no meat eating, no gambling, no meat eating. All these things he gave. Why? Because Dhyutam Param Striyasana Ita Adharma Shatruvida. Bhagavatam also says that. So when we give up these 4 pillars of sin, then we don't commit sin. Then Manashishtan Indriyani Prakritisthani Karshati will reduce gradually. And then gradually the independent living entity will become aligned with the Lord's plan. So then we work for the pleasure of the Lord. Then we can also work for the pleasure of the other living entities. So when Lord is pleased, then other living entities also will be taken care. Therefore, Prabhupada says the devotees of the Lord are attached to the service of the Lord, whereas the fallen souls are attached to the pleasures of the material existence, he says. Yeah. See, here he says, in the Bhagavad Gita it is said that anything performed in the material world for any reason other than the pleasure of the Lord causes further bondage of the performer. That is Yajñātār Karmano Netra Lokoyam Karma Bandhana. Therefore, everything should be done for the pleasure of the Lord. And then he says, this will bring everyone peace and prosperity. And then here comes the main point Prabhupada is saying. One of you can read it loudly? The great sages. No. They won't be able to hear you. I want everybody to hear. One of the online devotees read it. They can't unmute and read? Yeah.
Assembled at this holy place of Naimisharanya with a program of performing a great and a continuous chain of sacrificial ceremonies. Forgetful men do not know the right path for peace and prosperity.
Yeah. So the great sages are always anxious, Prabhupada is saying, to do good to the people in general. Like Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is anxious. He is sending Nityananda Prabhu and Haridas Thakur, please go door to door. Pati kare karegi ya koro yahi bhiksha, bolo Krishna, bhajo Krishna, karo Krishna shiksha. So he is anxious to see the Yuga Dharma propagated in every town and village. You can see that. He is taking anxiety. One time Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was in anxiety. He spoke to Haridas Thakur. He told Haridas, I am worried about all these plants and trees and mountains and animals, how they will all be delivered. So Haridas Thakur said, my Lord, you have brought the holy name. When we resound the holy name, it appears to be an echo coming from the mountains, but it is not an echo. It is actually the calling of the holy names by the trees and mountains and everybody. Like that he said. So that Prabhupada says, every follower of Lord Chaitanya has to relieve his anxiety. He says, how? By propagating this Krishna consciousness movement. Lord becomes, when the Lord sees his movement is expanding, I was so happy to know, just now I met His Grace Radheshyam Prabhu, the second floor. He said, Radheshyam Prabhu, I have a good news to give you, he said. I asked, what is it? The last 1 year we have been doing preaching online to more than 6,000 to 8,000 people. We have been trying, with the 18 chapters of Gita we did, and then we consolidated them and took them, and that's called as Gita Sandesh, they call it. The same thing like Gita Rahasya type of thing. And then after that, they did in 3 languages, English, Hindi and Telugu. Now we consolidated and took the people ahead with the sadhana and everything, morning chanting, daily reading Prabhupada books and all that. Today, he said, almost 85 people took Guru Ashray. They have come to 16 rounds and chanting 16 rounds now. Now they took shelter of Jayapataka Maharaj, they took now. So 85 people in 1 year. This is the fruit of our last 1 year of preaching, he said. So now Prabhupada and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu were very happy to see this, that all this great austerity of reaching out to people online, offline, everything, it's producing some fruit, and ultimately it's coming to saving all this. So they are all going to get initiated very soon, and they will do so much greater good. You will see that. So the great sages are always anxious to do good to the people in general, and as such, the sages headed by Shaunaka and others assembled at his holy place Naimisharanya with the program of performing a great concentration of sacrifices. And then Prabhupada says that, forgetful men, sorry, yeah, yeah. Here, forgetful men do not know this, know the right path for peace and prosperity. However, the sages know it well, and therefore, for the good of all men, they are always anxious to perform acts which may bring about peace in the world. He says. Actually, that verse which I told you just now, Vishaya Kshina Kalmasha, that verse says that, only those saintly persons who have uh, become free from sin, they only can do good for the people. Nobody else can do good. Either we have to be free from sin, or we should be a follower of somebody like Srila Prabhupada, who is also free from sin, or great Vaishnava acharyas like that. You have to be follower, and whatever they say, you have to do it faithfully. Then only we can do good to the people. And there is a reason for why they are saying what Prabhupada is saying. There is a reason for that. See, if I go to the kitchen and take a knife in my hand and come and tell you, come here, I'll do surgery for you. Will any of you accept? You will get frightened, you will run away. You will say, Prabhuji, you are not an MD surgeon. And that too, you are bringing a kitchen knife, you don't know what you will do. If you put in my belly, something will happen. So that means you may have respect for me, but you don't trust my knowledge of surgery with a kitchen knife, correct? No? So you will not put trust in that. Therefore, anybody and everybody cannot do welfare work for the public. Only pure devotees of Krishna, free from sin, only they can do good. Because they know what is to be administered for the jiva's welfare. Somebody is saying give food. Somebody is saying give uniform. Somebody is saying give notebook. But none of these people know what is good. Like I heard here in South India, there is one fellow who is going with a wagon street to street and giving food to all the dogs. So he has taken that as his sole purpose in life, because he doesn't want to see dogs wandering without food. He thinks that's the greatest thing in life. Now, after he's dead and gone, what will happen to the other dogs now? So, therefore, we cannot do good, but we are engaged in trying to do good, not according to our mental concoction. Prabhupada has told us, coming as a Vaishnava Acharya in the line, he is saying based on what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has taught. Go door to door and give the holy name, distribute the holy message, teach them the worship of Krishna's deity form of the Lord, and therefore we are doing that. And the Prabhupada is giving an example of a tree, and all the devatas are like the leaves and twigs of the tree, and when you water the root of the tree, everything will be nourished. Yeah. See here, this is a very important point. He says here that detached branches and leaves dry up gradually despite all watering attempts. Similarly, human society, when it is detached from the personality of Godhead, like detached branches and leaves, is not capable of being watered, and one attempt to do so is simply wasting his energy and resources. That means any type of service you may do without reference to Krishna. This is an example, pouring water in the root of the tree. Very important example which is given as Bhagavatam. Prabhupada saying it's like Krishna Bhakti is like that. So all other so-called good activities are null and void. So the Prabhupada is saying the modern material society is detached from its relation to Supreme Lord, and all its plans which are being made by atheistic leaders are sure to be baffled at every step. Yet they do not wake up to this, he's saying. A very, very important statement Prabhupada is making. Actually, modern day people are like, for example, some people are saying that plant more trees. so there will be enough oxygen. They're saying because the companies are putting so much pollution and we don't have enough fresh oxygen. It's not the ultimate welfare, because simply by producing plants now and having a better situation in this world, you're going to die one day. Where's the solution for the death? There's no. Therefore, people are foolish. And then Prabhupada is concluding with the congregation chanting of the holy names of the Lord is the prescribed method for waking up. So here he's saying that they're not waking up, and then he's saying, what is the method of waking up? That also he says. The ways and means are most scientifically presented by Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Intelligent persons may take advantage of his teachings in order to bring about real peace and prosperity. Yeah. And the Srimad Bhagavatam is also for that purpose. So here if you see this purport, one more point we will mark here. So these are things we read just now. Yeah. See, I'm just revising, you can see this. Devotees perform everything for Lord's pleasure, while the fallen souls do it for their own pleasure of material existence. Mhm. The peace and prosperity comes when the Vishnu is pleased. So we should see the triangle. The Jiva, the Supreme Lord, and Prakriti. Prakriti is pleased when the Jiva serve the Supreme Lord. When Jiva serve the Supreme Lord, Lord smiles. When Lord smiles, Prakriti smiles. When Prakriti smiles, there is prosperity. Ime jana pada swadda supakpaushadi virudaha panadrinati udanvanto hedante tava vikshita. You can read this 1.8.37, 38, 39, 40. Those verses. So 1.8.37, 38, 39. You can read that. So those three verses are very, very important. 1.8, it's Kunti Maharani's prayers. There she is saying that Ime Jana Padasudha, by your Vikshitai, by your glance alone, Prakriti is flourishing. Like that. Just like if your spiritual master is looking at you, immediately there will be a smile on your face, isn't it? Like that when Prakriti sees Krishna is glancing at Prakriti, immediately she blushes with all varieties of prosperity. So we have to make Krishna happy, and when Krishna is smiling happily, then Prakriti will flourish. When Prakriti flourishes, there will be prosperity in our lives. It's like a triangle. Then the triangle is complete. Like that. So see here, and the next very important sentence is this one. This is a very important sentence. Yeah, this is the main thing for us now, which we are discussing now. The great sages are always anxious to do good to the people in general, and as such, sages headed by Shaunaka, they are all doing a chain of sacrifice ceremonies for that purpose. Rishi, the meaning of the word Rishi means one who is always thinking of the welfare of the people. Like that. Therefore, for good of all men, they are anxious to perform the acts. Yeah. See, he's saying they are sincere friends to all living entities. Here he is saying they are sincere friends to all living entities. And at the risk of great personal inconvenience, they are always engaged in service of the Lord for the good of the people. So Prabhupada himself is an example that he said for all of us. How much inconvenience he took in his old age to go to America. Isn't it? They are sincere friends to all living entities. At the risk of great personal inconvenience, they are always engaged in service of the Lord for the good of. So one of the beauty of these purports of Prabhupada is we see what great souls have done, and from that we learn what we have to do also. We have to follow in their footsteps. For example, we have to become friends. He's saying, this is one thing he's saying, we are sincere friend of. And then he's saying, and take risk, he's saying. And also, they're engaged in service of the Lord for the good of all the people. And then one more sentence here. Here is saying, they are always anxious. This is also another sentence. So in this way, these are the very, very powerful statements. Ah, this was earlier also said, the point is repeated. So somebody would like to say something about these 4 points? See, this is the anxious to perform for the peace, bring about peace. Correct? No? This is the main thing. And then here he is saying they are sincere friends. And third one he says, they take risk of great personal inconvenience they take. He says. And then he says, they are always engaged in service of the Lord. For what? For good of all the people. This is the main thing in this. Anybody would like to share something? Anybody? I am giving you a clue about Goswamis. Somebody can say something about these 4 points in relation to Goswamis. Anybody? Mike, hey, give him the mic. Anybody can say second one, they are sincere friend to all living entities. Anything from the Goswami song? Anybody? Yeah? Correct. Dhira jana priyau priyakarau. Correct. Yeah. That's true, yeah. That's true, yeah. And also, how are they always engaged in service of the Lord for good of all people? Or we can say about Prabhupada, Prabhupada engaged in Krishna service. But how did he bring about good for all the people? Any of you can say? Mike?
By writing books for the future generation.
He is saying by writing spiritual books for the future generation. Nana Shastra Vicharanekana Pudam Sadharma Samstapakav. See, they wrote these books, they established temples and deities also, and they worshipped also. And then they lived an ideal life, and then now many living entities are learning from those books how to live our life, and by that they are becoming happy. And they are becoming free from bondage. And they're happy in this life and in the next life also. Correct now? And also in Prabhupada, if you see, he did for good for the people in America, which nobody else could do. Hippies actually could not be controlled by the teachers, by the parents, by police, by even government also. They didn't listen to anybody. Yeah. But they met Srila Prabhupada, and Prabhupada told them, chant Hare Krishna and be happy. And that they followed. Then they brought about a great transformation. Is it not true? So Prabhupada brought about a great good for all the people. In fact, even the vegetable shop owners and all saw that Swamiji is doing good work. They gave free vegetables and free grocery, free fruits they used to give in San Francisco, Haight-Ashbury Street Temple, So in this way, and how are they sincere friends to all living entities? Why Prabhupada is saying these sages, rishis, they are sincere friends to all living entities? Anybody want to say about that?
So we are never concerned for the living entity.
So what is that?
They had a genuine concern for the living entity. Actually, they wanted to give the real thing.
Yes.
That is Krishna consciousness.
Yes, they have genuine concern for all living entities. Thank you. Very good. Genuine concern. They are sincere friends. Why he is calling us sincere friends? There are many friends in this world, but they don't even know what is good for you. Some friend tells you, say, I don't want to smoke a cigarette alone. You also smoke with me. That's both. Please give me company. Another friend tells you, cheers. Both of them hit a glass and they drink liquor. What cheers? You are saying, I am going to hell. You also come to hell with me. So that's not a sincere friend. That's a useless friend, dangerous friend. Sincere friend means he should elevate you. And they are sincere friends because they elevate all the living entities. Vaikuntha planet. And they are always anxious to perform acts which may bring about peace in the world. Okay, how any of you can say how the Krishna conscious activities are bringing about peace? Who can say? Any of you?
It is making unity amongst the people. Universal brotherhood.
Okay, universal brotherhood. Okay. What is the proof that it is bringing about universal brotherhood? What is the proof?
That one time you were giving example that in Kolkata temple
they brought 125 countries together, which
who is speaking?
crossed the record of Modi also.
Who is speaking?
So,
Ah.
Anudeep, Anudeep.
Okay. Yes. Which voice? SV voice, huh? Where is SV?
So,
where is SV voice?
Tirupati, yes.
Tirupati, yes.
Tirupati.
Okay, Sri Venkateshwara University. Okay. You are right, yeah. In Calcutta, 120 countries came and carrying the flag. They all did Harnam Sangeetam. So that's an example of uniting the whole world, huh? Sri Prabhupada is doing. And also Ukraine and Russia are now in war. You all know that, correct, no? They are neighborhood countries. And Russia wants to make Ukraine a part of themselves. Huh? They are now waging a war now, throwing bombs in the housing colonies and everything. You can see man and man, country and country are fighting in the world. Whereas ISKCON is actually going to all the countries and bringing love, awakening love in their hearts. Correct, no? This you can tell your friends also. You can see how ISKCON is uniting the world and these fellows are now dividing the world, attacking one another, throwing bombs and missiles and everything. Huh? So you will see science leads to violence. You will see that, for example, they made an electric bat to roast the mosquitoes. Huh? They made Baygon spray to kill cockroaches. Then later on they produced, dynamite to break the mountains. But now they are breaking human bodies also. Huh? Throwing dynamite, you can see that. And also, science also divides the nations. It doesn't unite the nations. Because you will see, India is making India's bombs and Pakistan is making their bombs. You will see that. Now, America and Russia have thousand bombs, thousand weapons. Compared to America, America has 1,000, Russia has 980, India has only 20 compared to them. So many of the continents are having huge weapons and they are all using their doctorate knowledge for producing bombs to throw in the neighborhood country and kill people. Krishna consciousness says, don't even kill an ant. But they are killing humans, not one or two, millions they want to kill. Whereas you will see the Krishna consciousness teaches you, don't even cause harm to an ant. What to speak of anybody else. So therefore, they are bringing about universal peace. In fact, even in Ukraine now, in the wartime, Hare Krishna devotees are distributing prasadam now. You know that? Coming in this thing. So devotees are so peaceful. They eat prasad, they distribute prasad. They chant and dance in the kirtan. And they are also distributing the holy name in the streets. Yeah. So their method is, first time when ISKCON was holding Rath Yatra in the San Francisco, that time the American government had arranged a huge number of police. They thought that thousands of people will come and we need to have some control. Correct, no? So, it's working, no? And so they wanted to bring about control. But then the policemen were walking with the parade, Rath Yatra parade, they didn't have anything to control. Because devotees are very gentlemanly. They are so well behaved, they were going in organized fashion. Only they were distributing prasadam. And they were singing and dancing. The police also took part in the Rath Yatra and Rath Yatra ended. And the police gave a report, we have nothing to control because nobody created any mob. So devotees are peaceful people. They live peacefully and they spread peace. They eat prasad and they distribute prasad. They release the holy name and distribute the holy name. So in this way, devotees are anxious to bring about peace. Like Prahlad Maharaj is saying, Antadipa will tell the sloka. Antadipa will tell the sloka. Swasthirastu kalaprasidata. What is the word? Swastyastu.
Swastyastu vishwasya kalaprasidatam. Dhayantu bhutani shivam mithodya. Manasya bhadram bhajata daddokshaje. Aveshatam no matirapi ayatuki.
Yeah, tell the meaning.
Swastyastu vishwasya. May there be welfare for all the whole Vishwa. Kalaprasidatam. May the enemies also become pacified. May they think of each other's welfare. Shivam Mithodya. They think of each other's welfare. Mitho means each other. Shivam means welfare. So when Manascha Bhadram, such a mind is very auspicious. Thinks of each other's welfare. And this will happen by Aveshatam Mati. When Bhajatam Adokshite, in the bhajan of the Lord, their mind becomes absorbed. Then the mind is always auspicious to think of
such a beautiful and nicely fitting verse to this theme, what we are discussing today. When their minds become attached to Adokshaja Lord Krishna, who is beyond the range of the mundane senses of the living entity, at that time, their mind becomes auspicious and Mangalmaya. They become so pure and auspicious, they cannot think of harm to any living beings. They can only do good to other people. And such a auspicious mind, Prahlad says, let everybody possess such a mind, auspicious mind. By worshipping Lord Vasudev, he's saying. And let them not have any vairi bhavana towards one another. Swastirastu, he's saying, may there be auspiciousness, like that he's saying. Kala prasidatam. Prasidatam means let all the kala people become pacified, he's saying. Let the kala dushtas become pacified. So I heard one interesting phrase in English. May the wicked become virtuous. May the virtuous become tranquil. May the tranquil become free. May those who are free set others free. These are 4 statements. So beautiful. So we have to pray that may all the wicked living entities become free from the wickedness and become virtuous. The wicked become virtuous. So in this way, devotees are always anxious to bring about peace in this world. And they are sincere friends to all living entities. See, Nityananda Prabhu is called as, Mar Kheye Prem Diye. Mar Kheye means when he Markhana, he was hit with a pot on his head. It was bleeding. Prem Diye, he is giving prem. How is it like? You take a stone and hit into a mango tree. The mango tree will give you 4 mangoes in return. So you are hitting the tree to cause pain to the tree, and the tree is giving you mangoes in return. So Vaishnava is like that. They are sincere friends to all living entities. And Nityananda Prabhu showed that, and Jesus also was put on cross. Prabhupada says that. Haridas Thakur was beaten in 21 marketplaces for chanting the holy name and propagating it to the other people. For that he was beaten up. There were also Christian apostles, 12 apostles. Some of them were fed to the hungry lions. When the people did not want Christians to spread in those days, they tortured many of the preachers, Christian preachers. You can imagine all of us, we take good prasadam and we chant and dance. We don't have so much trouble like Christian preachers. Nobody is torturing us. We have so much religious freedom. His Holiness Bhakchar Maharaj was telling, in India, preaching means sense gratification, he said. It's a very joyful thing. There's no trouble or no opposition for our preaching. So we should take inspiration from great missionaries like that. Vasudev, prayed to Vasudev Datta, he prayed to Lord Chaitanya that may all the living entities give their sinful reactions to me. Let me suffer, let them go to spiritual world and be happy forever. That was his prayer. So you can see that Vaishnavas are always anxious to bring about peace. They're sincere friends to all living entities. They take a lot of risk, like Nityananda Prabhu, at the risk of being beaten up by Jagai Mata, he went and gave. Prabhupada also took a lot of risk to live amongst the Bavari hippies, to give them Krishna consciousness. Shiva also takes a great risk in living in Shmashan with dangerous fellows, like ghosts and spirits and hobgoblins and all. The Vaishnavas, you will find, like Anantacharya took great risk in going to the Tirupati hill, which was filled with cheetahs and tigers and lions and snakes and scorpions and everything, perform service to Guru, so that everybody, later on now Tirupati, millions of people come there to worship. So Vaishnavas take risk always. So in our life also we can check these 4 things. Am I anxious to bring about peace? Am I sincere friend to the boys? Am I taking some risk of great personal inconvenience to reach out message? And am I engaged in service of the Lord for good of all people? Yeah. So those are other activities those who are doing, they are like detached branches and leaves. They dry up, useless activities they are doing in the name of social service. They say, Jana Seva hi Janardhan Seva hai. Manav Seva hi Madhav Seva hai. This kind of thing they say. Actually, they say sayings like, the hands that serve are better than hands that pray, they say. Because these foolish people don't know, prayer itself includes service. Devotional service. Because Prabhupada never said you only pray. He told you chant in the morning and daytime go and distribute books, distribute prasadam. So one man told Prabhupada that, Swami, yes, you have to distribute prasad because so many poor people are there, he said. Prabhupada said, who is not poor? Everybody is poor. Prabhupada said, everybody is daridra in this world. Because even the richest man will give up all the money and go to the graveyard alone. He won't carry anything. Everybody is poor. So Prabhupada said, prasadam is not only for the poor people, it is for everybody. because all jivas are starving for Krishna. So in this way, Prabhupada saying modern metaphysics is detached from relation to Supreme Lord, and all the plans made by atheist leaders are useless. You know, they are always thinking of industrialization and expanding material. Like Prabhupada saying in one purport, any of you have read things like, he says, what is the need for cinema theaters, clubs, brothels, and beer bars, and slaughterhouses, and fish and flesh, and like that. Prabhupada is writing almost like 8 or 10. What is the need for all these things? Because Krishna is already giving through nature. He is giving flowers, fruits, spices, cereals, grains, milk. All those things are sugar. All these things are coming. And also he has given for civilization. He has given things like gold, silver, diamond, and navaratnas. He has given. And all the building materials he has given. What is the need for going for flesh and fish and slaughterhouses and brothels and beer bars and clubs and cinema theaters? All these things Prabhupada is saying. Artificial enjoyment. So Prabhupada is condemning that. And why are they going for that? Because they are fools. Because they are not worshipping the Supreme Lord. They are trying to bring about happiness in an artificial way. So anybody can tell me a little more about what I am talking now? Artificial happiness and real happiness. You want to say a few words, anybody? Please go ahead, anybody.
Like artificial.
You can show his this thing, show it. Yeah.
Artificial enjoyment is like sense enjoyment or bodily enjoyment. Okay. Like real enjoyment is like satisfying the soul.
Okay, so how will you satisfy the soul? What's the method?
Like chanting the holy name.
By chanting the holy name, who is pleased first?
Super soul.
Super soul. So when Lord is pleased, then we also become pleased. Correct, no? Like for example, if a hand of the body has to get strength, I have to feed the stomach. When I feed the stomach, then hand gets strength. Similarly, when Lord is pleased, then the jiva becomes pleased. When Lord is pleased, the Prakriti is pleased. When Lord is pleased, everyone is pleased. Yasmin tushtam, jagat tushtam. This formula should be known. So thank you. That was perfect answer. Yeah. So about both the people Prabhupada saying, and he's concluding beautifully as you see here. In this age, congregation chanting of the holy name of the Lord is the prescribed method for waking up the sleeping souls. The ways and means are most scientifically presented by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Intelligent person may take advantage of his teachings also. Not only you chant the holy name, Prabhupada says if you cannot understand teaching, just chant the holy name and eat prasad. But if you can understand his teaching, then learn the teachings also. Then you can bring about real peace and prosperity. He's saying you'll bring about real peace and prosperity. So that was a very beautiful purport. Let's go back to our this thing. You can show this one. So Naimisharina sages 3,000 in sacrifice for the welfare of future Vamsha. So here what is being appreciated is the spirit of selflessness of the Lord's devotees. So anybody remembers now? 4 points I showed. What is the spirit of selfless sacrifice of Lord's devotees who are called rishis? So the quiz now, immediately. After teaching, we want to have quiz, instant quiz, without delay. Only 1 point you should say, okay? I showed you bullet points, I put 4 points. Anybody? There's one hand up. They're always? Yeah, go ahead, yeah.
Anxious to do, they are always anxious to do such acts by which they can bring about peace in the society.
Exactly, very good. They're always anxious to bring about peace for all the suffering souls of the world. Yeah, very good. That's first one. Anybody else? Second one?
They do risk for.
You show them?
They do risk for doing good. For spreading Krishna consciousness.
For spreading Krishna consciousness, they take a great risk. They take great risk. So they are ready to take risk. You all know that Salted Bread book you must have read. In Salted Bread book, how the Russian devotees struggled hard to spread what all this they took. Even at the cost of losing their life, they were ready to spread Krishna consciousness. Taking risk, yeah. That's the second thing. Thank you. And one more thing. Anybody? Let us take something from online also. Somebody from online? My Lord.
They are always engaged in the service of the Lord for the good of all people.
What is saying?
Always in
What is, no. Keep your mouth away from the mic. It's very, very too loud. It is. Keep it away like this. Yeah. Go ahead.
They are always engaged in the service of the Lord for the good of all people.
They are always engaged in the service of the Lord for the good of all people. If you want to bring about good for all people, you have to engage in Lord service. Because without engaging, so morning we are going for Harinam every day. Why do we go? Because we are engaging in Lord service, you can bring about good of all people. Today, so many people I saw when with Harinam Sankirtan, people coming out of the houses and folding the palms. And some people are doing like this, some people are doing like this, some people are doing like this. Different things they were doing. Which goes to show, as they hear the auspicious name of the Lord, and the Sadbhavana is being awakened in the people. Everybody. So you can see that it is doing good for the people when you take shelter of the Lord, that benefits the people. Yeah. Then, what's the fourth one? Anybody else? Yeah. There's one hand up.
Sincere friends to all living entities.
Shiva Sangha, pace it voice. Yeah, what is it? What all living entities? What is it?
They are sincere friends of for all living entities.
They are sincere friends of all living entities. Very good. That's true. They are sincere friends of all living entities. Why they are sincere friends? Unmotivated friends. They are unmotivated friends. They have nothing to gain from living entities. When I heard the classes of His Holiness Bhaktisar Maharaj in IIT, I attended about a couple of months program, and then I asked him, "You are teaching so nicely. Can I pay you some fee?" He said, "No, what fee? We don't take any fee at all." Then I asked, "Then you are coming all the way in a car and giving us prasadam also." My father used to say, "Never eat anywhere they give you free food. You should never eat. You always pay." you know. So I asked him, "At least for prasadam I will pay." He will not take at all. Then after 6 months, once I gave him 2,000 rupees. Immediately gave it back to me. He said, no, from students we don't accept. He said, I asked, why? Because you're not earning, he said. Non-earning students, we don't take money, he said. Then I told him that I'm getting a stipend for my MTech in IIT. He said, okay, if you're getting a stipend, if you want to give charity, for Lord service, thank you, I can accept. Then he accepted after that. He said, make sure you have enough for your expenditure and everything. So you can see how sincere friends they are to all living entities. They are giving knowledge without expecting anything in return. They are distributing prasad, they are giving malas. They are themselves pure-hearted. They want to make the living entity also pure-hearted and become happy. So, sarve janaha sukhino bhavantu. Therefore, one should think about the nature of a Vaishnava. A Vaishnava devotee means he has no motivations. He simply wants to see the whole world happy, that's all. And the whole world can become happy by becoming devotees of the Lord. So that was the first thing we discussed. Let us discuss